There are around 1.7 billion websites across the internet. So that means your website is just a tiny, tiny blip in the grand scheme of things. And people have literally millions of options in terms of where they can go to get information or to find services, to find whatever it is that they're looking for. So when you do the hard work of actually getting people to your website, the question is, how do you actually keep them there? And how do you find a way to follow up with them? Because chances are they're going to get to your website and leave. You're not going to know who they are, who's been to your site, and you will have no way of actually reaching out to them and following up to turn them into a lead or eventually a customer or a client. So that's what this episode is about. Hey, my name is Marlon, and you're listening to or watching Future Steps Creative, the video podcast that talks about online business strategies, especially around content marketing and your website, so you can get more organic reach online. So I have 5 things I want to talk about, 5 ways by which you can capture leads on your website, so you can actually turn your website visitors into leads. And these are ways that I've personally used, or I know that other people are having success with. So you can actually look into whichever one you wish to and decide if you can implement that in your own strategy. It depends on what you do online, what your business is, or whatever it is that your website is about or your content is about. So what I'm going to do is start with the first one here, and then I'll run through the list. And I'll give you sort of a brief explanation of each one. However, I will be at some point doing specific content, maybe on some of these, if not all of them. So do make sure you follow my content. The podcast version, the audio version, you can listen to it on pretty much any major platform, including Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher. You can also catch the video version on YouTube, as well as you'll have other content on the YouTube channel, such as tutorials and so on. So number 1 is your contact form. And if you don't know what a contact form is, first of all, forms are basically anything that you fill in to provide information. So you might have come across a form in some way, shape or form, whether this is in print and you've got to fill in a form to submit to somewhere in order to register for something or to request something. A form is a form, but on a website, you are able to fill it in dynamically, meaning that you can just enter your details in and submit the form, and the website owner or whoever manages the website would receive that information. So the simplest or most common, I should say, it can be simple and it can be a bit more complex depending on how you set up your contact form. But a basic contact form, I think, is kind of like the minimum in terms of how you'd want people to get in touch with you. You can put your email address on your website, and you should, depending on the type of business you're running, and any other contact details such as an address or a phone number. But to make it easy, if you have a contact form right there, people don't have to open an email client like Gmail or something to then go into a separate app to type in the email. That's just too many steps. So having a contact form that they can just quickly fill in at least their name, email address, and the message and submit that to you makes it so much easier, and it would increase your conversions in terms of people that actually reach out to you versus the people that visit your site. So this is a very simple way of actually generating leads, because potential clients or customers could contact you to get further information, or they could be asking a question, or they could even request a callback. Anything you can think of that they might want to speak to you or get in touch with you about. So that's the first way you could actually capture leads, because you'd already have their details once they submit the contact form. That goes through to an email account, to an email address. So depending on what email you set it up with, you would just basically get a regular email coming in with all the details inside that email. And in some cases, you could set up a form to capture the details on the site as well, depending on the type of plugin or software that you're using to create the form. So that's the first way. The second way is by offering lead magnets. And if you've never heard the term lead magnet, all it is, as the name suggests, it's a type of, it's something that you offer on your website to incentivize someone for in terms of someone to submit their details to you, so then you can communicate with them and provide them with whatever it is that you're offering. So in most cases, it's a free product or some sort of free access to something that they find valuable, and they're happy to give you at least an email address. It could be email address and name, or other details that you might want to ask for. It's basically a form as well that they would fill in to get this information, but it's not a contact form. It's them saying, hey, I want this thing that you're offering, and here's my details, please send it to me. And by the way, sure, you can add me to your email list, because that's normally what happens, or that's the goal of it anyway, is to grow an email list by offering this product or this particular offer. And the product is not normally physical, it's normally a digital product, and it's normally an info product. So it's something that's easy to produce, easy to deliver, but to the end user or the person who's actually requesting it, it's actually super valuable because it's helping them to solve a particular problem. So you would have this normally in the form of, say, a checklist. So that could be a downloadable checklist like a PDF or some other format. Or it could be an ebook. These are, has been one of the most common ways of doing lead magnets. And it's called a lead magnet, by the way, because it's attracting leads to you, because what you actually offer is targeted at your ideal customer or your ideal client. So that they'll be looking to solve a particular problem, and this is what you can help them with. So you start them on that journey by providing them with this particular info product or whatever it is, so that you can then follow up with them and send them emails to be able to help them even further in the future. Number 3 on the list is content upgrades. And this is similar to lead magnets in the sense that you're actually offering something in return for the details that they provide. So email address, typically, or email address plus name and so on. But it's, instead of it being a general offer on the website, what this is, it's tied in with a specific piece of content. So let's say you have a blog post that is actually talking about a particular topic. You could then offer a downloadable version of that blog post, for example, or you could offer access to more details. So you could basically provide the basic information, which is going to be super helpful still to that person. But if they want to go deeper, and maybe you have like another section to that post that they could go into, which then digs deeper into the individual things that you went through, or it could be a separate post altogether that's even in more detail. This is a way that you can have people opt in if they want to learn more, and you just provide them with that additional information. And I mean, your imagination is the only thing that will limit you here. So all of these options that I'm giving you and these examples are just typical ways that I've seen it done, or or ways in which I've done it. However, you can actually just implement whatever makes sense to you. Just think about how you can utilize these options that I'm giving you here. So as I said, it could be a checklist. I've got written down here, printable version of whatever is being read. It could be a piece of audio, or it could be just giving more details, right? Number 4 is quote or price calculator. So depending on your business, you may want to offer some sort of online way of somebody working out what it would end up costing them, especially if it's something that is project based, right? Now, this doesn't always work out for every type of business depending on your strategy, but I've seen it where people could actually, if you have some predetermined pricing, you could actually put that up there and have people just check some boxes in a form, or it could be a particular web application that is implemented into your website. So it could be either or, but the end result is that first of all, they give the details, your details or their details, before they then get to that section where they select what they need. And then at the end of it, it emails them or provides the information right there on screen as to this is how much based on what you've selected that it's likely to cost. And this could be correct in terms of the price, but it could also mean that it's an estimate where they still need you to follow up with them and to help them make a more accurate decision around budget and things like that. So this is a really, really good way of actually being transparent right there on your website with pricing and setting the expectations, as well as being able to then have a follow-up expected to happen. Because if they're asking for a quote, clearly they're a warm lead or even a hot lead, because they are already interested in buying from you, because that's, otherwise why would they first of all get to your website and fill out a quote or fill out a price calculator or a quote request. So this is ideal, I think, if you're in certain industries or in certain types of businesses that you have pricing that is kind of set, that you can then easily just say, check these boxes if you want this. Oh, by the way, do you want this as well? Type of thing. If you can set up things dynamically like that, it makes it super intuitive, and that way you would see more conversions, basically. The fifth and final way I have here is competitions and giveaways. Now, this could be a product of some sort. It doesn't have to be related to necessarily what you do or the content, but it's just something that you want people to enter because they want that free item. They want to submit their request to say, look, could you, I want to be part of this. I want to win this item. And it's kind of like a raffle, except they don't pay for it. They just provide their details and enter the competition or the raffle or the giveaway. And as a result of that, you then just pick a winner at a predetermined time. This could be done maybe on a live stream, or you could do it randomly via email or some other way of picking the winner. And you just send that item to them. But they know that it's only one person that's going to actually win the item. But they are opting in to your email list because you have to, sign them up to an email list, let's just say. And which is what you want to do, by the way. You want to use as many of these strategies as possible to get people on an email list that they've given you the permission to say, yes, I want to be here. I would like to receive further communication from you, whether this is through email or phone call and so on. You just make sure that they are consenting to this in order to, one, ethically be on the right side, because you don't want to deceive people in thinking, oh, I'm just giving you this thing, but you didn't tell them, by the way, I'm actually going to communicate with you in future. As well as you'd be on the legal, the right side of the law, because with data protection and all these regulations that exist, including, things in all across the different states in America and here in Europe as well, you have very, very strict data protection laws. If you're capturing any details, you should be abiding by those. So those are the points. To summarize, we've got the contact form, which you can basically have information sent through to you by someone just typing in a message and put their details. And then you have lead magnets, which are specific downloadable items typically that you would offer in return for an email address, as well as content upgrades, which are similar, but they're more connected to a specific piece of content. You have quote or price calculators, and then you have competitions and giveaways. So see which one fits you. You can use them in combination with each other. It just depends on what you want your strategy to be. Now, what I'd like you to do is that if you feel that you need some help and some access to more resources with just general online strategy for organic growth, head over to marlonmcpherson.com. At the moment, there are two ways. Well, there's a few different ways I can help you, but there are two ways that you'll primarily see. And that is, for one, if you have an existing website and you'd like to have it reviewed by me directly, just head over there and you can claim your free website review. As well as if you don't have an existing website, there's resources or information that I have there. You can request a free consultation with me as well, that I can help you get started with the strategy for it and help you to map out the path and get some clarity around what you need in place. So that's it for this episode. Do check out, either if you're watching the video, something else that's on my screen now is going to pop up next to me with another video. See you in that video. As well as if you're listening on the podcast app, go ahead and check out one of the other episodes. And you can catch the show notes for this here. We're on episode 34. So you head to marlonmcpherson.com/034. Thanks for listening and have a Merry Christmas. I'm right upon Christmas right now when I'm recording this. In fact, it's tomorrow. This is Christmas Eve. So enjoy, happy holidays, and I will see you in the next one.